Alliances turn to ban. Dire team ban.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 2 of DC versus Alliance set to get underway here. Game 1. It was a quickie, one of the fastest games we've seen in this season of Captain's Draft. Of course, with Alliance the win over Digital Chaos. So, well, Perch, this feels familiar. We were just here at the draft. I mean, that was one hell of a performance from Alliance. S4 just took over that game.
It was honestly one little skirmish and the game was lost because DC threw so many heroes at him and it just didn't work out. So that's the scary thing about Lesh. That was like a blast of the past right there. It's been like, wow, Lesh can snowball really hard because he does magic damage and there's not a lot of ways to stop it unless you get a BKB or you kill him first. So they didn't have the solutions to that due to the draft they had, and they just get completely run over. So they open with the Zeus this game.
Yeah, much different opener to what we saw before. Alliance will kind of channel their inner gold black here. Venge and Treant Protector, their opening duo. All right. The best of all worlds. A little bit of a defensive support, nice aggressive support.
Kind of a weird opening, actually. With the Treant, that is. I mean, the Venge makes complete sense, obviously, but the Treant seems weird when they don't have other heroes that cover it. I just don't see the early synergy. Maybe Alliance is a team that does like drafting Treant, like EG for example. It's pretty good against Zeus, I guess, but his aura does remove an instance of the armor, so it's not amazing. But I'm sure it can definitely help in terms of little burst damage moments. Like the damage blocking at spells is really good.
Yeah. Definitely. Now the question for DC is, how do they want to take this draft? What do we have in the way of supports? This is kind of an interesting support pool that we're left with here. Venge was the obvious high value one. You've got a Warlock, Shadow Demon, Ogre, Coddle. And they'll take the Ogre as their first support, assuming that it's a core Zeus.
Alliances
I think it's pretty likely. And now they grab Clinks as their assumed safe lane carry.
I still am not liking Treant now, especially with the Ogre pick. I don't see a ton of value there. Even the Invis isn't going to be amazing because they've got Zeus Bolt. So I like the Clinks though. It gives them a gank potential carry. It can be self-sufficient, so the supports can shift off the lane a little bit. And also the Clinks can also jungle. So if DC does do a lot of roaming like they did in the last game, the Clinks can shift to jungle and those supports can catch up in the safe lane, which is a very nice thing that they didn't have last game especially.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely not going to be a lack of damage at the 10-minute mark this game. When you have a Zeus, Ogre, and even Clinks, I mean, he does a lot of damage early on with just the Searing Arrows, even before like a Desolator comes out or anything like that, or an Orchid. So they can definitely fight early, and that was one of the issues they had. It seemed like they could fight early on paper, but once that Lesh got some momentum, they just didn't have the damage output.
Yeah, there was no way to take those fights. They had way better disables on Alliance as well, especially like support Kunkka just setting up kills repeatedly. It's so hard to fight into that. You need to either go even in those trades or the game just gets lost.
There is also an Omni Knight in the pool, another support that I missed. And even the Kunkka. We saw Alliance do a lot of work with that here in just game 1.
I don't know if they'll go Kunkka. I think they need a couple more disables. Beating up Clinks is going to be pretty important. They go for a Warlock. I guess that's going to be their mid hero, I'm guessing, up against Zeus. It works quite well there because...
Does Alliance ever do the like position 1 Venge? Like, could it be a support Warlock with Loda on the Venge?
I don't think they would rely on that as much as other teams, personally. I feel like it's not as much their style. I think Loda playing Tiny is a lot more likely. It could be a Warlock support as well, by the way. It doesn't necessarily have to be... No, I guess it does. It kind of has to be mid, because... Unless Venge is carry. And I doubt they do Treant Warlock dual supporting. I think it's going to be Warlock mid, Tiny carry, Treant Venge support, and then they just need an offlane hero.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. The Loda Tidy makes more sense. I'm trying to think of S4 Warlock. I don't know that I've really ever seen that. That'll be a fun treat.
Yeah, me neither. But it's decent against Zeus. You can stand up to his harass very easily. You can harass him in return quite well. It's not going to be very good against Clinks, though. And once you hit like mid-game, Warlock becomes a bit weaker. And I guess this makes it a support Zeus now, so they picked Warlock to deal with Zeus, but now it's going to be Dragonite mid.
Okay.
Kind of interesting. Very
I like
tanky
that change
hero.
of pace.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think Dragonite's good here. It's pretty good against Venge. He can deal with the minus armor. The burst from Tiny is scary, but it won't be everything, and it gives them another stun. They're just really heavy on stuns now on DC's side. So I think they can lock down Tiny and possibly pick him off. Plus Clinks is very good against Tiny in the mid game because Tiny's going to have HP but not much armor. So if you get a Deso, you'll be strong.
Oh, there's the Omni Knight for Alliance. So now it's Alliance that kind of to go with the 4 support strategy.
Oh, and Loda's playing it.
Loda
okay,
Omni
so
Knight. Wow.
I guess it is a carry. Alright, Bulldog Warlock off lane.
Okay, so S4
hell?
Tiny mid.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely failed at predicting how these were going to go. This is insane. This is so 2 series today. We'll now see twice Omni Knight played by the carry player on the 1. That is Slacks picked the wrong day to not show up for stats. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, no kidding, man. That's his favorite hero.
That's awesome. And seeing it on the carry is just so rare. So it'll be interesting to compare the item builds as well. If Loda goes for that similar, just kind of mech, Ags, Guardian Greaves, utility Omni Knight, or if he actually tries to play more of a quote-unquote carry Omni Knight where he gets like a, some right-clicking items you're talking about, Maelstrom, SNY,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
there's no way. He's got to get a mech. I think the mech is just too important here. I think the offlane Warlock's actually going to work okay because the 2 supports he's against is an Ogre and a Zeus. Zeus is not a good hero for zoning. Ogre is very good. But if they do a dual lane of like maybe Tree Warlock, I think they can actually, what they can do is they can turn the Treant into like a tanky support and then heal him with Warlock and just zone heroes.
Yeah.
Like one hero that can actually kind of compete with Ogre is Treant Protector.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like these drafts. Hopefully it works out better for DC here in Game 2, so we just have a more even match on our hands. I can't imagine Alliance will be able to run over them quite so easily, though, with this lineup. I have high expectations for this Bulldog Warlock. I'm not going to lie. I want to see him make some plays.
Well, it all comes down to Fatal Bonds, I guess, and not getting solo killed by Clinks endlessly in the late game, because got no disable, so any heavy gank hero in the late game, like a ganking carry, just absolutely eats Warlock alive.
30 seconds.
Yeah,
to
that's
battle.
true. Whenever I think of Warlock, I think back to the TI4 qualifiers where I saw a game where Complexity won by doing a Warlock mid against Puck, and I think I was casting with Durka, and we were like, oh, this is really weird, and it just completely destroyed the Puck, because you can't phase shift the DOT damage, and he had no way to deal with it. And I guess it's sort of similar, like Warlock versus Zeus. He doesn't really have any way to deal with just the Shadow Word damage over time.
Yeah, even Dragon Knight's going to have a little bit of trouble with it. Like, Dragon Blood helps a lot for health regen, but he's obviously not going to max it out over Breathe Fire, so be a bit limited there.
Yeah. A little bit of lane shuffling going on. EGM, the Christmas tree. Gotta love this skin. This cosmetic, whatever it is. What is that? Technically a back piece, the shoulders.
Yeah, I was just checking out. It's not like all commons and uncommons. Oh, he's going to fight a
Pretty cool
1437.
Wow, and he goes Leech Seed level 1. This is where Treant really shines. He punches hard. He did go Boots level 1, and 1437 didn't, but not going to dive the tower. Still a great start against the Zeus, though. It completely pushes him back, and he's just going to have to walk back to the well.
Or use like 3 tangos. Like that was really expensive for him and almost cost nothing for EGM.
Yeah, he'll be able to just regen up the mana. And for now, it'll be Tiny versus Dragon Knight in the mid. That puts Bulldog in the solo safe lane on the Warlock. And then up top, it'll be a dual off lane. Loda on the farming Omni Knight here. And then, of course, the Venge picked up by Ake. This Venge set looks like PA. I keep looking at it and thinking Ake's playing PA. So if I miscall
really
that, correct
too.
me. Because very...
Yeah, God, it really does look a lot like PA. And she's so small. Like, a lot of Venge items are kind of frilly and stuff and makes her model look bigger.
Yeah, usually she has like wings, but here with the helmet and that little weapon, man, I'm just seeing Phantom Assassins. Solution, keeping these creeps off the tower. Cute little play there. EGM is just, he's dedicated. He wants this courier. They've taken it in the really far path back. Although, is he going to send it back the normal way? Nope, okay, cancels it.
I need it all the way through Secret Shop.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Keeps the courier alive, though.
Yeah, I don't really like this Warlock versus Clink matchup, though. I feel like this is actually... this is one hero that actually can out-damage this heal. But maybe Yuar won't be able to stand up to the harass himself. He'll have less regen, obviously, but having Searing Arrows, man, that helps you trade so much.
Yeah. GM and AUI exchanging some blows here in the jungle. The 2 beefcakes just punching each other. Solution will come over and he will grab himself the bounty rune. The Warlock is still farming okay against the Clinks, though. He's got 5 last hits. not too bad for Bulldog.
Yeah, he's doing some pseudo-deny stuff as well. He just has to attack a little bit before Clinks is about to hit it, and the creeps might end up getting the kill. So it won't be a deny, but it'll prevent your opponent from getting a last hit, and that alone is pretty advantageous.
Yeah, that would be an interesting metric to be able to bring up on the last hit tab, like missed last hits like out of the maximum potential, so you could see if somebody was really doing that. I feel like that's a mechanic that's often underlooked because there's no...
And in a lot of cases, you don't see matchups where one person has a huge last hitting advantage over another. They just don't draft the heroes simply, so...
Oh, Resolution mid. Almost dies to S4 with the double damage rune, but can't quite get it. The creep's get in his way. He does have a toss, though. Level 2, and it's not going to be enough damage.
Bottled up enough here, he's going to be okay.
Yep.
But if you go close to the creep wave, he dies. Like, an avalanche toss at this point is way too much to deal with.
Yeah, now Resolution is just going to have to walk back. So it was pretty even mid, but now S4 is just starting to pull ahead.
And Alliance is surely just wrecking on the top lane, like a Avenge plus an Omni Knight versus an Earthshaker Zeus. Like, both Earthshaker and Zeus are very mana reliant here. They actually can't even just lane without mana. And it's basically two melee heroes versus a melee and a range with a stun. Like, they can't lane against this at all.
Yeah, you see the difference on the last hit chart. Omni Knight 21 and 11, great score for him here. And Bulba and Zeus are both in trouble. I mean, looks like 1437's picked up some last hits just from using his Chain Lightning from afar. That's gotten him 6. Bulba was intended to be the core here getting the farm, and it's just not happening.
So there's going to be a smoke purchase for Ogre. We'll see what he uses this for. I think he needs to shift to the top lane to try to get kills there, but even doing that is going to be so hard. The only, like, super gankable hero on the map is either Treant or Venge. I think, like, maybe a Warlock, but he's consistently under tower.
Yeah, managed this lane really well. I feel like Bulldog has just been in low-risk positioning the entire game. He's level 5, getting great experience. Decent farm.
He's on stats heal as well, so he's extra tanky.
I think that's the right build here for sure. And in this safe lane, he really just wants to survive and hit level 6 as quickly as possible. That's kind of the goal. Anything else you can do to delay farm from Yawar, all the better.
And once he hits 6 and gets a TP, his ability to just TP top and take a team fight is going to be really strong.
They're going to bump into the Ogre here.
AY.
He hasn't burned his smoke yet, but EGM drops the Leech Seed, trying to block him out, but the Ogre finds some way to squeeze by there. Okay.
Also no mana, 45 mana to cast a Fire Blast. They kind of want to fight here, but it's a little hard. 1437 is only level 2. Like, he actually does nothing right now. He's just under-leveled.
Yeah. Tiny level 5. Still not hitting super hard, but he can put out a decent amount of burst damage. Bulldog getting a little more aggressive in the bottom lane, though, pushing pretty far forward. They'll try and rotate behind him. They see this as an opportunity. AY on the Ogre. He does have boots, still has the smoke, but only level 2, and Bulldog will back up as he sees a few heroes missing off the map. They've also got a ward here, choke point at the river, so they see the rotation from 1437. And Bulldog will be just fine.
Phase on Warlock is actually really good. He has a great animation, so all of a sudden he's hitting for 100 damage, and he makes up for this lack of stun that he has and this lack of mobility that he has. The base pays off really hard here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They just can't get a kill. Like, as soon as Yawar hits 6, they can at least get some experience, but the supports on DC are just getting nothing.
Meanwhile, up top, Loda just farming up a storm. He is really pulling ahead now. 41 CS compared to the 30 of Clinks. They are the top 2 farmers, and I think the more important takeaway is not as much how much is the Omni Knight getting, but how little is the Earthshaker getting. He is finding some experience, which is good. He's up to level 5 now, but Bulba can't even finish his soul ring. He doesn't have boots yet.
He's almost got it because he does have a Ring of Basilius. That's going to be
for
he
can break it. Yeah.
So he's about 150 away, but Resolution might just die here.
Yeah, Ake opens up, magic missile to get things started. Loda barely hits him with the heal. Now they're just going to body block him. Done from S4 connects. Loda using that 1 point in degen aura. Resolution is pretty tanky. Nice fissure breaks it up. Ake needs to be a little careful here. He's getting low. It finds one more stun. S4 with a toss in 1 second.
Oh, the creep block
should be the kill. No, he throws Ake in the air instead of on target. And
I don't know if they can kill somebody, but the fact that he lived is amazing here. That was really close. Those are clutch stuns from Resolution. He stunned the right person every single time there.
Really well done. Still no first blood drawn. About 7 minutes in, this game has been much more passive than the Dota we've seen in games prior today, that's for sure.
Warlock just ulted, by the way.
Oh.
Maybe it looks like Clinks was going for a kill on him and he had to ulti to stay alive or something, but kind of a weird usage. It does increase his... Oh, maybe he ulted because the camp was very stacked. That might have been what he did. If he got a stack out of it, it's absolutely worth it because the golem does do cleave damage.
Yeah, and he has the immolation around him. He's got like a permanent radiance.
Yeah, it's accelerating his farming speed by a lot, actually.
Here we go. He pops the heal on himself, and Bulldog at level 7, 4 points in the Shadow Word. He is hard to bring down when it's a 1v1 scenario like that. AUI can tickle him, but very easily just heals through it and goes right back to laning.
And with that basey, like, he's got 7 armor. He's got as much armor as the Ogre does, and he's healing for 45 HP per second. How do you match up against that?
Yeah. I feel kind of bad for AUI here. I feel like this Ogre has just been stationed in like this general area, and he's been looking for openings, just running back and forth between mid and bottom, desperately trying to kill something, and he just can't. I mean, Alliance are doing a great job mitigating his ganks, and they've got so much defensive capability with all of the heals from the Living Armor, the Purification, the Shadow Word. There's just no opening for this guy that wants to fight early. This reminds me of like the old school Undying. As I'm bitching about that, we missed the first blood up top. That fall, but it gets dove, and Ake gets the first blood.
Noise there. It was just you that missed it.
Just me. Yep, I was tunnel visioning. So like thinking about the old Undying days, you just avoid it. That's exactly what they're doing. They're going to catch EGM here. AUI will finally get up on the scoreboard. Nice rotation there. 1 for 1.
I like
But
that he
Loda
saved
does
his
get a
mana as
tower
well.
up top.
He only used Fire Blast there. It was conservative. Like, he doesn't have that much mana regen. If he goes too over on spells there, then it limits his ability to stay on the map. So DC needs to get a tower, I think, because they're so far behind that they're not like super far behind, but their laning stage clearly went worse than it did on Alliance. So they need to get some gold advantage to make up for it, so that they can try to take some fights with equal items.
Lions are coming in to defend here. They've got a Guardian Angel. Golem will be up in about 15. Resolution did use the Elder Dragon for him, but it just took a glyph to delay the push, and that's it. They did about half damage, and they will back out.
This is too scary to fight, for sure. Like, if they get Avatos back to somebody, the fight just becomes really bad. Resolution would get super burned.
Yeah.
But the best redeeming factor about DC so far is that despite their laning stage going bad, they haven't died much.
Bulldog's in trouble down bottom. Yawar just scouting it out. The supports are rotating in. Not much the Bulldog can do. Both of them will use the Echo for this.
He tanks so much damage there. That was incredible. And he buys a wand as he dies. So a big kill for DC there.
Much
get
needed.
366 gold on her ship.
I guess he used the Echo there just so if he gets off the Chaotic Offering, maybe he has enough time to use the Shadow Word, heal up, and then turn around. And if he even trades 1 for 1, then that gank is just basically mitigated for what you're trying to achieve. So
yeah, it's honestly this early in the game, it's totally fine to use Echo Slam for single kills like that. And it's more important to just set up the stun so that you know where he's going to move, so you don't get juked with your fissure.
Right.
So completely fine to Echo like that.
Even though DC is doing a lot better this game than they did in Game 1, we're still running into that problem where Alliance are farming so well on all of their cores. All 3 of their cores are top 3 on net worth. Especially their offlaner being the, well, I guess Warlock is technically the 3, but he's gotten so much more than the Earthshaker at 3.8k net worth. Is he going maybe Atos first item here with a Vit booster? Warlock?
Definitely a possibility, yeah. Because if you Chaotic Offering somebody, normally you need upheaval to make up for the fact that they're not slowed. And Atos could be a good solution to that.
And it gives him a lot of stats, so...
Yeah, it's more damage as well. It allows you to actually drop the rock and actually right-click. You contribute your hero more by right-clicking rather than using, like, Fatal Bonds or upheaval or something.
I like it. 4 going for a standard build, just treads into drums. Possibly a Blink Dagger on the horizon for him, but could also just go right into the Aghanims, depending on how active Alliance plan on being. EGM just moving around up top. He is level 5. Very standard build as well, 1-1-3. Just trying to leech to get to that overgrowth stage at this point, I think.
Well, they're grouping up to push bottom. Loda also went drum. A bit of a poor planning for them, actually. They could have mech and drum. But now S4 is going to have a drum, and so is Loda, so they kind of waste their stacking. Their items are a bit wasted because of this.
Yeah. A little inefficiency there, but they will pressure this tier 1 down bottom. They drop the rock on Aoi 2000, and that's just a dead Ogre. The duration of the stun, he gets completely crippled, and they should be able to get a free tower down here. The glyph will be used to delay this push, but the tower will be turned to rubble nonetheless. Golem, they'll heal it up, actually. Meanwhile, in the top lane, GM looking at Resolution here. He's still only level 5. Thinking they could TP and maybe go for a kill, but I think he's just hoping for a tower deny. Unfortunately, it won't happen. The creep's pushing back as he gets blocked out.
That was way too dangerous.
Tier 1 for Tier 1.
It's not terrible for DC. They also got the Infernal Golem, and trading an Ogre for that is a pretty good trade, but the push continues. That's the problem.
Yeah, Golem still has quite a bit of time left, about a third duration.
Or maybe a kill top lane.
And okay, they will finish off the Ogre, so that's a little bit of gold there. EGM initiated on. He preemptively used the living armor, really heads up play. Uses the overgrowth and just walks away. Definitely felt like that was coming.
Yeah, he saw the clinks in the area. Maybe.
AUI, wrong place, wrong time. 4-on-1, and they shave a little more bacon off the Ogre's back.
Their words are so good for these ganks too. See where everybody is, and they're moving straight. They're following. They use a drum too.
They won
Actually, double drummed.
S4's got Avalanche up in about 2 seconds. AUI. Pardon me, 1437, still on brown boots, very slow. It's just an easy kill. They set it up and
this
the rotation of spells. Oh yeah, they've got the sentry on.
Just hit 6 too with that kill, but didn't have swap ready.
So those are 2 just complete free kills. That's just Alliance for opportunities and easily finding them. Iwar walks by the sentry ward. Did get pinged out like crazy. I think they know it's there.
Ito's almost ready for Warlock. He's about 250 away. Ulti's got 50 seconds to go. And Alliance's 5-man push is just so much better than DC's right now. This ward does everything.
They haven't even had to use a Guardian Angel yet. We'll see Resolution pop the Elder Dragon form, goes in on the Bulldog, but after the stun comes out, he gets repelled. He will get healed up. Shadow Ward's there. Still a little while before his ult, but he's got Upheaval. It's level 2, and it's doing some work. Will be interrupted, and everybody just backs out. Armor of Omniscience was used, so GA is on cooldown. Small victory there for DC.
Their damage is just not there yet at all. Like, they actually can't fight this just yet. But at least they zoned Alliance back. They can't give them free towers, so it's been good that they did do this. And they get the D ward. Nice play by 1437.
What do you think about this from Yawar? He's got Blade of Alacrity, probably a first item defusal if I had to guess.
Yeah, most likely. He can defuse the blade just to slow people. Even though it doesn't do as much damage as something like a Deso, it still can be very useful. It's also very good against living armor, really, because whenever it hits somebody, it's going to break off 2 living armors, one for the defusal blade and one for the right click.
Oh yeah. We'll see how it works out. Still a little ways off, but definitely makes sense against an Omni Knight. There's the Atos on the Warlock, and lo and behold, the Chaotic Offering is available. You'll see Alliance group up is 3 in the mid lane. Split the pushing for now with EGM up top, getting some solo XP. He's gone for the Iron Talon also. Loda, he's just going to go Force Staff now, it looks like. Interesting item choice. Meanwhile, back in the mid lane, double damage rune on S4. Glyph has been used. He'll take the Shadow Ward for the heal. Oh, Ake, he swaps, saves his friend. They will commit the offering for this, though. Fatal Bonds come out. Bulba taking a lot of damage in the front line. The toss forward finishes off 1437. They also get the kill on the Earthshaker. It's a 1-for-2, just the support bench. Nice swap to keep S4 alive. Sacrificial Lamb for Team Alliance.
AUI ran back in, though.
He's going to get sandwiched here. Loaded with the Degen Aura, slowing him down for S4 to close the gap. They're going to club him down. EGM with a Leech Seed for good measure. It'll end as a double kill for S4. Make it 3 for 1. They get a tower out of it, and the pushing's not done yet. They're going to continue on and put some damage into this tier 2 mid, though it's still early on. Respawn timers are short. AC could still find a fight yet.
Dragon Knight's got 2,500 gold here. I don't know what they're going to buy. Maybe it's something even like a drum could be really useful for them in the early game, but he might just have to just BKB rush. That way he can actually focus on DPSing in team fights. Not that his damage is going to be good for a long time, but just staying alive and casting dual breathe fire like 2 or 3 times can make a big difference.
Yeah. I think that fight could have gone even better for Alliance if Bulldog didn't hesitate with his ult. With that swap, definitely. He kind of waited a second, thinking he might just disengage, and if he had just committed it, Ake would have at least had a chance to live. But obviously still a really good fight for Alliance. Bulba uses the fissure, kind of misses, but it does juke on from S4. He gets healed up right away, gets the repel. Now swap from Ake onto Yawar. They've got it dust, and this place is in big trouble. GA comes out. That buys time for Ake. He'll get healed up even more. 1437 out of mana. Can't finish him off, and he'll just get clubbed down by the Tiny. Fissure not going to do enough to break up this fight. But Resolution still. Blade forward from S4. He's got the Avalanche. Stun combo to boot. Tosses him back. It's a 3 for DC, losing more momentum around the map, and tier 2 in the mid be in some trouble. Looks creep equilibrium is in their favor, but still a 3-0. Starting to feel more reminiscent of what happened in Game 1, Purge.
Yeah, this is looking a lot like Game 1. Alliance just picked 5 heroes that are really good at fighting at the start of the game, and DC has 2 to 3 heroes that just aren't ready to fight yet, one of which is Zeus, and the Earthshaker's okay, but as an offlaner, he gives less value.
Ogre Magi in some trouble. He's locked in the tree line. It's a 3-on-1, and they are going to bring down the Ogre once more. AUI 0-4-2. Poor guy wanted to fight early on. And Alliance is finally ready to fight, but now he's the one that's not so eager. It's tough stuff. Resolution just respawned. The hunting continues. Relentless from Alliance as they jump right onto Resolution. Upheaval comes out. S4 will try to commit a little bit further, but he sees all the team of DC, and they will not get the kill, but they will send Resolution right back from whence he came. He's going to have to head back to the well, I think. Maybe not.
Man, this is not good for DC. They just can't take team fights early. Their damage is really weak against the core Omniad as well. He pops Guardian Angel, and there's nothing they can do in the fights anymore.
Yeah.
Just have to back. They need to get pickoffs, and it's very hard for them to do that until they get a Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, because the only way they can initiate is either Ogre Stun, Diffusor, or Dragonite. It's not looking good. I think Dragonite needs like a Blink Dagger or something to initiate, because right now DC is just constantly at the beck and call of how Alliance wants to engage.
I mean, he's going for the BKB, and you can't fault him for that. He's got the Ogre Club. The extra bit of strength does give him some more survivability. But you're right. They need somebody who can get in the front line and actually be the initiator and, you know, take the fight on their own terms. It feels like every fight in this game has been DC reacting to Alliance for the most part. Every is hyperbolic, but it's Alliance that are the aggressors here, and DC are just playing their game, and they need to find a way to put the Alliance out of their comfort zone a little bit. Roche is up. S4 and Loda walk into the pit. Like Alliance has some more support coming, and they're just going to go right for Roche. But two huge items for DC as they decide to do this. Bulba gets the Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, and the Diffusal is completed on Clinks. You are also level 11, so that packed a little more powerful.
They were set up to take the Roche fight right now. I could see DC coming back, but it looks very much like Roche is going to fall to Alliance. But despite those big items being picked up, they're just a little bit too slow here, and it's going to change the game in a lot of ways. I think it's going to be very hard for them to fight into Aegis, even though they do have these items picked up. They have to kill Omni Knight first, pretty much, but it's so hard. There's Swap, there's Inferno Golem.
Plus he has a Force Staff, too.
Yeah, and S4 could just blink, initiate on whoever's hitting them on the backline, like Zeus or something. He could just one-shot Zeus, basically.
Yeah. It's really scary at this point. The gem is well secured in the hands of Omni Knight, who also is level 11, so that's another second here on... Oh, actually, he didn't put the point in Guardian Angel. Oh, there it is. Oh, God. Skilled it up right. I looked at it. So an extra second of physical immunity. So bad as they look for this tier 2 mid. Should be an easy tower kill for Alliance. Right now, DC are kind of grouped up about the top. They're not even hitting the tower yet. They're just going to have to hand this one over.
They're hoping for a counter gank, basically, that Ogre will get ganked again, and they'll be able to turn it around. And they've got to go back now and fight.
Yeah, I mean, with an Aegis, Alliance can look to poke at high ground here. Blink Dagger on Tiny. If they can just catch one, a 4v5 makes this pretty easy. He's got the free BKB from the Repel. It is only level 2. He went for that third point in Degen Aura, but still enough to let S4 feel pretty confident moving up to the high ground like that. They'll chip at the tower. More importantly, Alliance force all of DC to TP back to their base, and now that they know where they are, they'll just start to spread and continue farming.
And Resolution uses ult, and they saw that, so they may just go take easier tactical things for about 60 seconds, and once that Dragonite ult's down, they're going to go high ground, because now they know the enemy mid hero is only going to be able to do like melee range stuns and breathe fires. I think DC just, they look kind of screwed right now, man. They're going to get this tier 2 most likely.
Yeah, it hurts. Ogre, there you go, Bloodlust on the tower. It's a little something.
It helps a lot, but it's not everything.
Yeah. Just one of those changes that still feels kind of like, oh yeah, Ogre can do that. Sentry Ward comes down from the Dire. Still a little intel around the side, but S4, he just goes in. Pops the Zeus right away, and now the Rock to follow up. S4 takes heavy damage, but they've got plenty of follow-up. Talking about follow-up, there's the Blink Echo from Bulba. Connects on 4, but S4 is still alive. GA is used, and all that time, he still had the Aegis. They use everything for just an Aegis GA. They'll swap Bulba. He dies. AUI not going to be able to make it out. He gets tossed in the air. A few more auto attacks will bring him down. It's a 3 for Aegis trade. The tier 2 tower's gone down, and now they have a Golem with plenty of time left to try and break the high ground. No glyph for DC, no buybacks either, except for Zeus. He's coming up in a couple seconds, but Earthshaker and Ogre, they'll be down for the count before they can even defend the barracks, I think. This is at least a tier 3, probably a lane of racks.
And that was almost all of DC's fight there. The Echo Slam did a lot, but it wasn't everything. They needed the Zeus ult, they needed them not have the Aegis, and he's gonna get one shot again.
Oh, this poor Zeus. I just feel bad for 1437, man. He can't survive. Now Resolution can get stunned. His ult's on cooldown for another 5. Can't even get a BKB. Manages to buy the Mithril Hammer before he dies, but no buyback, and that's it. DC just tap out.
There's no way they could win the fight at this point. Like, the Rod of Atos, if any hero comes up, it gets slowed for, what, 6 seconds or 4 seconds by 60%. Like, all of their cores are completely countered by the Atos. The Zeus is completely countered by the Tiny. There's no way that they could win at that stage. They just got way too much advantage on Alliance, and I think that's why they picked heroes like Tree and Protector. They're like, we're just going to pick early game heroes because we're playing Captain's Draft. There isn't going to be a lot of synergy in these drafts. We just want to make sure our lanes are good and that we're going to transition into killing you and taking early fights and just ending the game.
Yeah.
So DC just had to, and I think DC was maybe too forced on the counter, or focused on the counter picking, right? They had Zeus early, and then they forced him into support role, and this just makes the hero so much worse if you don't have a way